This is the Council on Aging Board meeting, Tuesday, December 9th, 2025 at 2 p.m. at the Ayer Senior Center, 18 Pond Street in Ayer, Mass. This meeting will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting/hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for an in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may access the proceeding by joining Zoom meeting ID number 375-414-6055 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager, atm@ayer.ma.us, or at 978-772-8220, extension 100 prior to the meeting. All right, meeting's open. Take an amendment or a motion to approve or amend the agenda as.
I'll make a motion.
Sure. Madam Chair, if I might, could I
Cullen?
ask that the agenda be admitted to, sorry, this is a little late in coming, but it just occurred to me that we ought to do something like this. There you go.
So you want to amend the agenda?
Yeah, to a couple of items. One, a discussion of this letter, and Cheryl, I'll read it to
Sure.
you, or we can email
Thank
it to you.
Okay, sure.
And also a brief discussion of the China 9 annual report. They recently kicked off or ended their.
Okay, how about if we,
In any place on the agenda.
yeah, all right, so we will make the discussion of the thank you letter right after we approve the minutes and everything else like that. And right after that, we will do the China 9
Okay.
annual meeting. All right, would anybody like to make a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
I would like to
So
make a
moved.
motion.
Thank you, Cheryl, second.
Second.
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye,
So let's go through the roll call. We've got Cheryl,
aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Marge,
Okay.
and Mary is an aye. All right, so the motion is carried to amend the agenda as necessary. So Dennis had provided us with some, the minutes from September and October. Are there any issues with those? Does anybody have any comments, changes, considerations? I didn't see anything
No,
that stood out. Nope.
no. Madam Chair, I'd like to make
All
a
right.
motion to accept those minutes as prepared.
All right, motion has been second.
Second.
All right. Let's take a roll. Cheryl,
Aye,
Dennis,
Aye.
Marge,
aye.
Mary is aye. So that was the minutes from September and October have been accepted and approved. Okay, moving on. All right, so let's talk about Dennis's letter.
So, Madam Chair, if I might, I'd like to read this into the record. We can then discuss it. My hope is that we could get a Council on Aging Board of Directors vote to approve the letter for entry into the record.
Okay, yep. So and you're gonna read it, and that's fine. I have no problem with you reading it. How do you expect to put this out? Are you gonna put it on the website, Facebook? Are you looking to put it,
Just into the record.
oh, just into our record? Okay, so it's not
Yeah.
necessary. So it's not necessarily that you're looking for it to go.
No, although,
Viral. Yes.
I think we could, into the record was my first and initial thought. I think we could CC the select board on its contents if we wanted to, but I just thought it should be in the record.
All right. That's what I was trying to do. Do you think there's anything? And so basically this is Cheryl is a thank you note from the board to the residents. It's all right, Dennis, go ahead. Why don't you read it and then we can
Okay.
talk about it.
So we, the Council on Aging Board of Directors, would like to thank the residents of Ayer for their overwhelming support for the building of a new senior center. The town of Ayer has been working on this initiative for 7 years. We know that over the next 2 years, we will see the completion of a building capable of providing the level of service the residents of Ayer both need and deserve. The unusually large turnout at town meeting held on October 24th, 2025, which supported the building of a new senior center by a clear 2/3 majority voice vote, and the remarkable turnout at the ballot on November 4th, 2025, which voted in favor 677 to 354, are a testament to just how important this project is to the townspeople of Ayer. It is especially noteworthy that the debt exclusion vote on November 4th was the only measure on the ballot. The people made a dedicated effort to travel to town hall to have their voices be heard by voting for this specific project. We would also like to acknowledge the ongoing work of all the members of the Senior Center Building Committee. Without their individual and collective contributions to this project, this project would not be possible. We would especially like to thank the Senior Center Director, Dr. Katie Petrossi, and DPW Director Dan Van Scalkwick for their dedication, hard work, and unwavering commitment to this project. We owe them a debt of gratitude. The substantial benefits that will accrue to the residents of Ayer over the course of many generations will be due in no small part to their expertise and foresight. As this project proceeds, we look forward to continuing to work with the Select Board, other town committees and boards, and the Town Manager's Office led by Robert Pomprand as Ayer's new senior center moves from an idea to a reality. Discussion.
I have no issue with it whatsoever, Dennis.
Okay.
I guess the only question I have is there any other way so that a lot of other people may see it? I mean,
I don't mind. I think it's appropriate that it be, I think it's okay for it to be, once we enter it into the public record, it becomes, a matter of public record. I think if Katie wanted to put it up on the Facebook post, or
that's
on the
great.
building committee webpage, or, wherever, I'm perfectly comfortable with that. I just think.
Or in her newsletter. I think that's a great.
Or in the
Or something
newsletter,
like that,
or, it's a little lengthy. Well, yeah. I mean,
I suppose, just,
yeah.
my question was, do you think we could get something on APAC? Like, even if it's not necessarily this whole thing? And just because, something that went up there that says thank you.
Right, but we as a committee.
But
Yeah, so I think, no, I think all those things are possible. What I just wanted for the committee to be aware that this is something that I think would be a good idea, and see if the committee would support doing that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's a wonderfully written letter. Dennis, thank you for doing that.
Oh, thanks very much. So I think I think we should all sign it. Is I guess I think
Okay.
it was, yeah. I mean, each of us should decide whether or not they want to sign it, I guess I could say.
Well, I would like to sign it, but unfortunately I can't hold a pen. So if someone can sign for me, in my consent, that would be fabulous.
Okay, and I will, I thought about this. I will approach Bobby individually. I know that he was supportive of it, and in fact, I signed in
Good.
front of his house. So I would do that.
Could I suggest if the goal is to read it into the record, into the public record, you could always go to a select board meeting and read this during public input.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's a great
Okay.
idea.
I will do my best to get it into the newsletter. It's a little lengthy for
Could
where
we-
it goes, but
Well, I guess, so let me ask a question. Could we put it in like an 8.5 by 11 frame? Could we put it someplace in the center so that people coming in could see it?
Oh, that's a nice idea.
Sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, so I mean, we got that there.
Yeah, I would, one thing that might be interesting would be to figure out how to redo some of that hallway space because people may be interested in seeing some like tangible building updates as it goes on because we'll be out taking once ground breaks and everything. I mean, we can certainly put it
In
on
there,
the
yeah.
bulletin board or in
I
a frame
think-
now. But it might have a more permanent home,
Oh,
in
I
that
think-
space
yeah.
going forward. Yeah.
I think that anything out there just sort of to let the people in town know how much we appreciate it. Just as a matter of side, I did work the polls that day. Do you know how many people came in saying, we're the people on the ballot? We're voting for mayor, right?
Mayor?
Mayor than Boston.
Right.
I mean, there were a few people that came in. They knew about this
Yeah.
item being on the agenda, but they were just expecting more.
Yeah, well,
So,
Well,
okay.
kudos to them for wanting
Yeah.
to be engaged voters, even if they had the wrong
Oh,
date and
I don't-
wrong issue. But
they came, like I said, they were,
love to see involvement.
there were a lot of people came in.
Okay.
All right.
So the
Do we
question,
need to take a vote on that? Or,
yes,
yes.
we do, because
Right.
I started out with we, hair cut.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
so the motion would be to approve the posting of this letter as a letter
An
to,
official acknowledgement, maybe?
yeah,
yeah,
was that your motion, Dennis?
yes.
Does anybody second it?
I second.
All right, let's take a vote on it. Cheryl,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Marge,
I don't know how I feel still. I'm gonna abstain for a moment.
okay. And I'm aye.
So you're abstaining for a moment, or
I'm on the vote.
you're gonna
Yeah.
abstain on the vote? Okay.
That's
All right. So we'll just have the 4 signatures.
Well, yeah, well, and we'll see how, like I said,
Yeah.
Marge, she's abstaining from the vote, so
Okay,
we'll go forward on that. Just if you would let Dennis know if you're gonna sign the letter
I
on
will.
March, that would be great. Because then we can just put names on there as well.
I have time before the next board meeting, the select board.
Is that you, because you were gonna
Well,
present?
It would be due Thursday at noon. if
Right.
It's,
Oh.
but actually, it actually isn't due Thursday at noon if you're gonna read it into public input. If you want it in the packet, it's due Thursday at noon.
Yeah.
And it could go as part of the town manager's report, but I think it would actually have more impact if you
I do
just
too.
Right,
appeared and read it for public input. So
I
then,
agree.
then you don't have that Thursday
Okay.
deadline.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question? If we have unanimously or majority have voted yes, do we need individual signatures? Or can we just sign it collectively as the
I
Air
mean, we
Council
could
on
sign it
Aging?
collectively as a board. I think sometimes the individual signatures make a difference. Now, that being said, they can be electronic signatures as long as we have the
All right,
backup vote proposal of that.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was
You know, we
assuming we would sign it collectively, I mean, individually,
Yeah,
in case there was a split vote, then.
but you can still, like, we can sign electronically,
All right, if-
based
if
on the
somebody-
vote. So you could like put our names, type them in script on the letter.
Okay, because that's
Okay.
what
You
would
see
need
what
to
I'm-
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the backup for our vote.
Good.
Yeah,
And
We don't want to be
We want
accused
that
of auto
letter.
penning.
sure.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to count on.
There it is,
letter,
right
or-
there.
I mean,
Okay.
it's my letterhead and then you take my name off.
But
and
thank you for that, Cheryl.
Oh, I see.
counts
Yeah,
on each-
yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be nice.
Cut and paste.
yeah.
All right. All right, so Dennis, now you want to talk about the Chena 9 annual meeting or annual report? What?
Yeah, so I went to the Chin and Nine meeting at Airtown Library on, I guess, last Wednesday or Thursday. And for the first time ever, the entire parking lot, I couldn't find a place to park. So it was surprising to me, frankly, but it was extremely well attended by numerous individuals from all over the region, just to kind of discuss the work that Nine has been doing and where it's going from here. This is the annual report. I would encourage folks, I didn't steal more copies just because it's a pretty expensive. I mean, this looks like a really kind of nice, and I didn't want to take them all. But we can leave this down here and I would encourage everybody to read it. Of particular, note, just in some of the conversations that occurred during the meeting. What's that?
Sarah did it.
Oh, is that right? No, this is very nice. Yeah. What was I going to say? As part of the conversations that came out of that meeting, a couple of interesting things which I was unaware of is that the region, we really don't have any adult day health programs. I did talk to one gentleman who said that Harvard is evidently in the process of considering opening one, or is in the process of opening one. That the last adult day health program was at River Court in Groton, which closed shortly after COVID and never reopened.
They relocated to the far side of Acton.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And that puts them out of this area, I guess.
It's just created a whole host of transportation issues, being able to get reliable and consistent transportation for the folks. We assist with a few people going there.
Oh, wow.
But it's difficult to coordinate that transportation.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't interrupt.
I mean, this was something all of this to say, and I'm not advocating for the town, for us to kind of take that under in terms of looking into that matter any deeper than that. It's just an observation, that, kind of took me a little bit by surprise.
And
So,
was that Debbie Thompson? Was that the Council on
No.
Aging that was, or was it Lisa Rosen? Lisa Rosen's been on those calls in the past with Nine. Was she the one that said that Harvard was looking into it?
no, it was a gentleman, I forgot his name, but it was a gentleman, relatively young, who I think was going to be helping open it or
Oh,
something.
interesting. I'll have to touch base because I do think it's something
And
that
it-
should be pursued in the new building if another one is not opened.
Oh, I see.
That's
Um,
what scares
Is the
me.
closest one at Manor on the Hill in Leominster? Is that the closest? Or is Acton closer?
I'm not sure exactly which one is.
It's probably
is
both.
closer. Yeah, probably depends on where
Yeah.
exactly which part of area you're coming from.
It could be.
Yeah, so that I thought was of interest. And so yeah, that's really, and the other thing is just as a general observation, the Chelsea Patrice, who is the executive director of this and has been doing an exceptional job. One of the things that she pointed out is that she interacts with or is trying to bring together some portion of the 240 organizations, and that she as individually sits on or attends 40 different committees in the region. And yeah, so all of this to say that where Ayer fits into that, how our specific towns' needs fit into that, or are consonant with the needs of some of the other towns. And on a lot of the measures, we're sort of an outlier, just because we are the furthest east. We have a train station. We're significantly less rural. They have been very helpful in terms of the transportation and helping fund that. And that's kind of the reason that I or we are involved in it. But it is interesting to look at the number of other things that she is trying to pull together and where the town of Ayer, because I'm trying to kind of focus my attention on this particular town's needs are as opposed to the broader region. Um,
And in the broader regions aspect, Ayer doesn't need as much.
that's right.
I mean, that's the gist
Yeah.
I'm getting from.
Well, especially in terms of transportation issues, that's clearly the case. Um, in terms of the health, well, yeah, so which was our original intent. But again, I think it's good for us to keep our finger on the pulse of what's occurring there, just because
Absolutely.
the executive director's energy and network of things going on could well serve us well in the future.
And we also don't want to make sure we get lost in the shuffle as well,
Yeah,
because we are that smallest town and we are that one of the furthest ones that out.
yeah.
So it can be very easy to say. And in a lot of things, Ayer is sort of one of the border towns.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
so like Medicare insurance, it goes by region.
Yeah.
So there are some plans that are available in Middlesex County, not in Worcester County. But there are some plans in Worcester County that are available in Middlesex County, and it just depends on
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you live. And, you know, sort of trying to get all of that.
Yeah, but that level of detail is important, I think, for the folks who live here to be aware of,
Absolutely.
and kind of plan their lives accordingly or not. But yeah, it's a complicated thing, but the idea of 240 separate organizations and it was mind-blowing to me a little bit. And that, yeah, so I will leave this down here, or maybe you could pin it to Katie, if you wanted to pin it to the bulletin board or wherever you think people may see it. And thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for going to that. All right, so public? I'm present. There might be an ant over there. Yeah, okay. All right.
Likely it's fighting.
True. All right. Which brings us to, oh, look at that, almost on time. Director's report.
All right. Did everybody receive and have a chance to
If
review?
it came today, I have.
No, I sent it on,
It's been,
well, I sent it on Friday, but it's scheduled it to come Monday morning,
which one?
Then I have
For
not, because I've not been.
December's.
you want?
Do you want a paper copy?
If you have one, I must have had a chance. to get in today.
I did in fact read it,
Good.
cover to cover.
So, all right, I'll just parrot yours.
Oh, yeah, here, go ahead.
Oh, okay, awesome. So any questions? There's sort of the basic one about the number of people that participated, outreach, meals, volunteer hours, that's all kind of standard. And then, you know, as I said, I would do periodically, I popped in the budget update where I am on the progress for the budget, both in my regular accounts in that first chart and the special funds in the second one, just so that everyone would have that written and in front of them for the budget update discussion. And then other than that, volunteer opportunities, anybody who's available on December 19th at 11:30 to come help with the holiday luncheon. And Representative Senna will be here that day to present the big check for the earmark for the
Wow.
senior center building project.
Nice.
So the building committee has been invited, and
Oh, good
the
for
town
them.
manager and
Yeah.
whatnot. So would love to have you guys here as well if you're available.
I'll be here.
Yeah, I'll
So
be, I'll be.
okay.
able to-
fantastic. Then the Friends of the Air Senior Center are in the process of receiving a generous donation to support senior center programs for this upcoming year. So that will fund programs as well as the establishment of a scholarship program for events. We already have a scholarship program for meals, but now we'll be able to offer one for events as
So
well.
that would allow people who might not otherwise be able to afford it to attend those things.
Right.
Mhm.
Very good. Yeah, and that was, that was very specific, like earmarked for programs and not for the building, but for programs. So,
And
we're really excited about that. That was very,
just to
generous.
reiterate or clarify, the difference between a program and an event is, how do you keep them separate in your mind?
Oh, there's really no, I use those words interchangeably, just meaning that it was a substantial donation, but it was not to go to the building project. It was
Right.
donated to the Friends, but it was not for
But
construction.
in terms of here,
Mhm.
yoga class would be a,
Program.
It's a program, yeah. I mean, I don't really distinguish between something that's like a recurring program and like a one-time event. I wouldn't distinguish between those
You
two
wouldn't.
for the sake of the scholarship. If someone wants to participate in exercise, but they can't
Yeah.
afford it, they could have small sums of money over a larger period of time. Or if someone wanted to go on the turkey train, they could have the larger
Yeah.
amount, for that one event.
right?
That's good.
So, there weren't any other, stipulations placed upon that money. So, I'll have to, as I did with the meal scholarship, sit down and develop a policy for how it will work and things like that. So more to come on that. So,
Katie, will you put like somebody can have it once or?
I haven't worked any of that out yet. I
just
think it'll
spread it
depend on
around?
what the interest is. Some of it will go to funding more programs,
Mhm.
right? I think that is largely what it would go to. But certainly assisting people along the way. There's a lot of different ways to structure that. It could be income based, it could not be income based, it could be situation based. There's a lot of ways to look at it, and I haven't worked any of that out yet.
Right. No, because
but,
nobody
yeah.
should be left behind.
Right, right.
But
And who from the Friends is kind of your main interface on that kind of issue about?
Right now that's Betsy Diskin.
Okay.
The Friends will have elections in January to
So the
determine their new
treasurer's-
slate of officers. Yeah, I did reach out to her. The check came here. And then it needed to go to the Friends, and then the check needed follow-up, so they're working through that issue right now. So whenever they let me know that it's all set, it'll be all set.
Right, but it will be the treasurer elect.
I mean,
Is
it would be
your liaison?
well, I mean, I
Okay.
attend all of their meetings, so I don't
Right,
have
I
an
know.
official liaison, but yeah. Yeah, so I gave the check to Betsy.
Mhm. But she's treasurer now or president? I don't know.
She's not president.
I don't know.
I'm
she's
not
treasurer.
sure. I just know that they're gonna do the elections. in
Right, I saw
January.
that in,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Newsletter.
But she is the acting treasurer. Yep. So, yeah, so, and then though this board does not have any purview over, personnel issues, I did just want to put in my update that the clerical union contract is being renegotiated right now. That happens once every 3 years. And I have submitted job description changes for the van coordinator position. And then I'm working on the job description changes for the nutrition coordinator.
And
To
they
go
are,
in.
are they both in the clerical union?
Yes, they're both in the clerical union. Yep.
Okay, good.
There are still the old job descriptions that I inherited 5 years ago.
Mhm.
So, they need substantial updates to them. At the last clerical union 3 years ago, when that renegotiation happened, I redid the outreach coordinator, job description. And now I'm doing the other two. So, anything else?
Well, just a question and a comment. I think I did read the budget directive,
yeah, I was gonna go into that, yeah, so,
Okay.
yeah.
but the transportation, one of the things that came up at the RCC meeting or the last, this one here, the Chin and I thing.
Mhm.
And what change in terms of medical appointments, have you seen drastic increase, a surprising decrease, about the same as before and after the hospital?
There's actually been a decline in
Okay.
medical appointments, which surprised me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have any quantitative explanation for it. I can give you my hunch is that it was very easy and very convenient for people to take
Yeah.
the Council on Aging van
Yeah.
here within town to their appointments. But now that they need to go further and our schedule is split in terms of where we go on which days, people are better utilizing other resources. So folks that qualify for a Mass Health PT1 are using it that might not have been using it before, which I think ultimately is a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe people are riding with other people. The data shows they're not on the Emerson shuttle. They're not on the Mark Emerson
Yeah.
shuttle.
Because that's
Um,
eliminating, was it?
And that December 15th is the last day for that Emerson
Oh, is that
shuttle.
right? Okay.
Yeah. So that one really never had more than a rider or two a day. Unfortunately, it was a really great idea. Again, I'm not sure. I think a lot of people push towards Leominster for reestablishing versus the
Oh, is
other
that
way.
right? I was
Um,
wondering about that.
Because even our Friday Concord visits are not that busy. So
So Leominster, what about Worcester? No,
we don't service Worcester, so
so you messed with more than Worcester, you wouldn't drive to?
we don't drive to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then people may be taking advantage of the micro transit, the Mart Connects
Yeah, yeah.
offering as well. So if you recall, up until 2 years ago, there was a fee to ride the Mart van. It
Yep.
was $3 each way or something. And so for the last 2 years, that's been federally funded by grants, right? So there's been no charge to ride the Mart van. So though the Mart Connects could be anywhere from, you know, $6 to $14 round trip. I'm wondering if people are using that. I don't have any stats on utilization for that. I could reach out. Although
That's more one-on-one, isn't it?
that is one-on-one. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because it was mentioned at the, and I had some vague recollection that that was the general trend of things, what you've just discussed.
Mhm.
Um, and when the Chin and I was discussing the effects of the hospital closing and what effects that would have on the transportation network and
Mhm.
how people were faring. It, the tone of it was, oh my God, people aren't making their medical appointments, or people, that there was, it had created a gaping hole that had happened. And it appears that people have been able to kind of adapt to the fact that the hospital closed, and they have been able to kind of find alternative ways to get to where they need to go.
So have they collected any data on that? Because at least from my point of view, I would have no idea whether they're just not taking the ride with us or whether they're just not seeing a specialist
understand.
because it's too far
I
away.
understand.
I would love to see an organization do a deeper dive and
Yes,
see
absolutely.
of the like a tracing through of patient caseloads that close at one office. Do they pop up someplace else? That would be a health system
Yeah.
study. It wouldn't be even China 9, but that would be really fascinating to say these people we used to take to the hospital like once a month to get their labs done for whatever medicine they're on. Are they getting those labs done now? I don't know. So I that's what I'm saying. I don't have any.
No, I'm not
Qualitative-
implying that we should
quantitative data on
have,
it.
or that we ought to get it,
Yeah.
or that we're in a position to require it. None of it. Just an observation
Yeah.
of, at the meeting,
Yeah.
the tone was a lack of transportation options.
Right.
I did not ask the follow-up question of what's your evidence for that, just because it wasn't
Yeah.
the kind of meeting where one asked that kind of question.
Right. No, but I have a real curiosity about it. Is what that's the point of view I'm approaching
yeah,
it from.
that's
Is
the
a real
one.
curiosity.
Yeah.
So have people established with new physicians this way or that way,
There you go.
this way or that way.
Well, remember the physicians that were on staff that were seeing that
Mhm.
stayed or whatnot had to associate themselves with
Right.
somebody.
Right.
So that would have made this split with whichever way they
Mhm.
went. I think a
Mhm.
lot of them went east towards
Yeah.
Emerson.
Yeah.
So, and as part of that, obviously
I think
the
only in-
Groton is going to be establishing a new
Yeah.
emergency um,
Yeah,
shelter, or not an emergency facility for certain kinds of
Yeah.
emergency.
Urgent care.
No, it's gonna be more than urgent care.
Is it?
It-
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's gonna have emergency capability with some imaging,
Mhm.
although they need to get approval for the imaging machines
I thought it-
from some state entity.
yeah, because I thought that was gonna be a place you could go for imaging and those types of things from this area.
Well, on an emergency basis, whether or not it will, I think there was some hope on UMass Memorial's part that they may be able to morph it into, taking out patients for typical imaging.
Yeah, that was my understanding of what they were looking to do with it.
But I think that that's heavily dependent on,
You know,
As
I'm
Gotcha.
chuckling because most emergency departments have to have a blood bank. You know, if you're taking trauma cases, is that what they're going to be doing? Or I'm trying to envision.
No, they're having a helipad so
Yeah.
that they'll helicopter them out if it's that type, but they're gonna be more than just an urgent
More than
care.
urgent care. Okay.
Yeah,
Like an
they're
intermediate.
not planning, there will be some beds there, but they will be emergency beds. There's no attached inpatient entity. And
So if there's a
um,
motor vehicle accident with severe bodily injury or a gunshot wound, you won't be going there.
you might go there just for transport,
Yeah.
stabilization, but
Why
then
would you?
they'll,
Yeah, yeah.
well, because they've got to helicopter you out in a lot of cases,
Yeah.
if that's what they're gonna do.
They can get you to.
or if they deem it faster, they would just put you in the ambulance
And then
drive
just
it.
take you, yeah.
I
All
get
right,
it.
for the sake of staying
Sake
on
of
the
the
agenda.
agenda.
Sorry.
So, okay,
just-
so, oh, sorry, go ahead,
Yep.
Chair.
Are you ready to move on to
Yeah,
the?
let's move on.
Were there any questions about the director's report aside from the budget piece? Okay.
No.
All right,
So
so
are you heading into the budget now?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing I kind of want to say about the budget for is this is all based on a town directive. It is not based specifically on or any reflection of the center or anything else like that. It is across all town departments. Katie is not. She is not the person to direct the Ayer to, nor is anybody else, but I just wanted to set that up so that we all had that understanding.
So did everybody have a chance to, I can pull up the budget directive here. So, the budget directive that came from the town manager, there's a budget directive that comes out each year and it directs, on the basis of, so this comes from the town manager's office. It goes to all town boards, commissions, committees, and departments. And it is a set of instructions. It's a background of where the town is and a set of instructions for department heads on how to prepare FY27 budgets. So I'm going to, I linked it into the director's report, so hopefully everybody had a chance to read it. I will highlight the important part for everybody here. All right, so I have to submit 3 budgets this year. In the 5 years I've been here, I have only submitted budget scenario number 1, which is a level services budget. In other towns that I have worked in, level services and level funded budget were always requested together. So this is not foreign to me at all. So a level services budget is what the town has done in the past, which is do what you would normally do, understanding that the costs of things go up every single year. So update your budget for the higher costs of the water cooler, the higher costs of your software contract, of course, step increases for staff, things like that. So then the Scenario number two is a level funded budget where you would have the same funding level as this year, FY26, and then add contractual increases only. So that keeps, so a budget has, and as you can see in the director's report, it has salary, wages, services, supplies, and other. So in a level funded budget, you would keep essentially your services, supplies, and other budget the same. And you would increase your salary and wages according to the contractual requirements of the union or the personnel contracts, right? So you're giving the required raises to the staff, but you're keeping the rest of the budget the same. And then scenario number three is a 10% reduction. And so in that scenario, I add the contractual increases and then I reduce the total budget by 10%. So this was the one that I took a little bit more time on. So that is, and I did clarify, it's the entire budget. It's not just services, supplies, and other. So that's, is everybody clear on what
So,
those three mean?
so you took on scenario three, you reduced the entire budget by 10%. That does not require or ask of you to determine where those reductions should or should not
Yes,
take
I
place.
do have to give the very specifics. I have to provide detailed notes explaining your 10% reductions and the impacts that they have.
Okay.
Which I have a document
No,
to show you.
yeah.
Just 2 seconds.
So you're asked to reduce the entire budget by 10%,
Mhm.
your entire budget.
Mhm.
Within your budget, how you allocate that 10% reduction is your call as the,
Yes, I'm always in control of my budget. Yeah.
so it's your call making judgments about, we can reduce that one by 12% and that one by 8%. And
I have been requested to put it together as I would plan it. And then, as a standard procedure, I will have a meeting with the town manager to go over my proposed budget.
Okay.
And there will be discussion back and forth about it.
Okay.
And then from that is where budget draft number one comes from.
Okay.
And then obviously that's a piece, the budget has several drafts because as more information comes in, each of the drafts is updated. I've never really had a lot of changes one draft to the next, but other departments, who are waiting on grant notification or waiting on like contractual
Yeah.
negotiations, things like that, they sometimes do have changes. And then the school assessment is usually what comes in at the end that finalizes that final draft of the budget. But for the sake of my department,
Yeah.
yes, I am being requested to determine where those changes, where those reductions would come from.
Okay.
All right. So, let me stop sharing that and then share. And this is just a draft. Okay. All righty. Cheryl, can you see that?
Yes, I can. I'm getting real
Okay.
close.
Okay, there we go. Is that better?
Thank you. That's better.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. So, as I always do in the budget narrative, I said that, we're growing between FY22 and FY25. We have had 146% growth in participation. And that certainly has driven the budget over the last couple of years. Although when you look back at the 5-year history of the budget, it's a little bit difficult to track because we were closed for COVID. And then for 2 years, we were short a staff member. So anyway, the other budget drivers include increased performer fees, increased food costs for congregate meals, and the corresponding paper goods costs because we don't have commercial kitchen here. So as food costs go up and participation goes up, so do paper good costs. So those are the things that are typically the drivers of budget changes for me from year to year. So the level service one, I opted to not submit a level service budget for this year, due to the fact that there were some things in last year's budget that didn't happen. So, for example, we did not end up replacing the senior center phones over to a voice over IP system. So I didn't use the money to do that, nor do I have a monthly fee to pay. I mean, I have my regular phone bill, but I don't have that fee. Though, Dennis, thank you. You advocated for adding back in that $2,400 last year to bring in the additional fitness instructor. I haven't had one. I did finally get a bite on one. It's an effort I'm constantly trying to work on. I did get a nibble, so maybe I can get that arranged, but I have that in the budget and didn't use it. And then again, the Friends of the Air Senior Center received that donation. So I am opting not to submit a level service budget this year.
So-
So the items that were in your 26 budget,
Mhm.
your VoIP phones and your fitness center are still allocated to you? They weren't rolled
Mhm.
back up to the town in?
So anything that I don't spend at the end of the year gets returned to the town in the form of free cash.
Okay,
And so that, and then free cash is used to fund capital stabilization fund, stabilization
Yeah.
fund, replenish debts, things, make early debt payments, any of those kinds of things. So, I try to use, it's a top-down budget. So, salaries and wages need to be spent for salaries and wages, but services, supplies, and other, I use the budget for things I need it for. I don't waste any money, but I also try not to send money back if I need it for something.
Yeah.
So, so I anticipate there will be some money going back into free cash this year because of these three things.
just
So-
out of curiosity, how come the phones weren't replaced? Was that because of the potential for the new center, or was that just nobody ever got to it?
It was because it was a facilities improvement and would have fallen under the facilities director, but the facilities director became the facilities director and the IT director and
Okay,
lots of other things this year.
okay,
So he just didn't get around to it, and I didn't
push it.
push it because I knew he had other things going on. And now I wouldn't invest in that now. So, I'm opting, and I really considered that. But I just felt like it was disingenuous. I was intending to submit for a level funded budget, which would just be the same dollar value of the budget, plus the contractual increases for staff, because I think what we had this year is going to be sufficient for next year. So then when we get to the 10% reduction, so if I kind of walk through the calculation. So FY26 budget is $251,976. And then I add in the required contractual increases of $12,091. That new resultant budget would be $264,067. And then you reduce the whole thing by 10%, yields a new budget of $237,660. Since the COA is a small department and our budget is 67% staff related costs and only 33% in program services and supplies, reducing my departmental budget by 10% can only be realized by a 25% reduction in those three other categories, because I am contractually obligated to give my employees their step increase. So that 10% reduction can't come out of the salary or wage line.
Right, and because the assumption there is that there would be no staff-related cuts.
I would have to cut an entire position
No, I
in order
understand.
to, right, yeah, and I can't do
I'm
that.
just making that explicit.
Yeah,
That
no,
in
we're
order-
already run as a lean staff,
No, I
so,
understand.
yeah.
So in order to avoid any cuts to staffing, the entire 25.3 has to come out of services and
Right.
supplies.
Correct. And
Yeah.
to be clear, when this was presented at a department head meeting, it was made very clear by the town manager's office that cutting staff was not the goal here. It was to model these three scenarios so that the town could clearly and transparently look at the budget situation going forward. And as was put forth in the first part of the budget directive, which I think you guys all saw, was that there was a 20% increase in healthcare costs this year. The schools did not get a grant, a set of grants, like grants are becoming leaner for the school system. So they're at a deficit, as well as the loss of revenue from the hospital because it's no longer an improved and operating property. So it knocked it into a different tax classification, which was a massive sum of money that the town is now not getting. So those three things are what created this situation. So, and again, there's lots of pieces of the budget process that are still happening. So it's not a guarantee that we will be doing this 10% reduction. They asked us to put this together and model it so that we could demonstrate what the impact to the town would be if we did choose to go this route. All right. So, so essentially that becomes a reduction of $17,000 roughly. So, because again, I can't take it out of that. The 10% reduction is 17,000. I can't take it out of the supplies I can't take it out of wages. All right. So I took a look at what we could do, and I started with things that I thought wouldn't be a problem. So, for example, we pay $115 a month for cable television here. In the past, maybe people were watching television here. We really don't watch television. I'm really usually looking for more active socialization between people.
What's going on? The movie they were watching that.
So that is a streaming service. So that's not included in this.
It's not, okay.
Yeah. So that would be $1,300 towards that 17,000. I think that would have a negligible impact. The water bubbler is another one. There's currently $720 in the budget. I only used about $500, $475 of it, because we're trying to, when I first started here, I was told erroneously that the water wasn't safe to drink in town. And so
Really?
yeah, other senior center employees. But
it's some of the best. It is.
Well,
Aquafina, the bottled water.
Yeah.
Gets their water from the Ayer Public Water Supply.
Oh, you're kidding. That's great.
They're serious.
Yeah.
Look at the bottles. PWS, Ayer, Massachusetts.
10 years.
so I think that people were operating under outdated information about the PFAS correction in town. So when I came into this role, there was a large water bubbler budget. I've taken a look at that over time. We do use it. We don't use it to make coffee. We use tap water for the coffee. It's there for people to drink casually for lunch, to make hot tea, to make oatmeal. Decaf coffee comes from it. So we could get rid of it. And the exercise people typically come over and fill their water bottles either before or after, but that's a convenience. We could certainly use pitchers. So that's another place that a small amount could be cut out. The second, I guess the next ones were, I have $900 in the budget for a job posting line item. And again, I think that is something that we've been fully staffed for a year and a half, 2 years now, not counting the marked positions, and increasingly job postings are happening online rather than in the paper. So I think this would be a great opportunity to eliminate that. There's about $1,600 in the budget for Mary Ellen and I to attend the State Massachusetts Councils on Aging conference every October. It's typically in Falmouth. So the first three, the job posting, the cable television, and the water bubbler, are things I think have almost no impact. And, it's possible that the town, upon seeing this memo, will be like, get rid of those anyway, even if they don't. go the 10% reduction route. Then we start to get into things that have a little bit of an impact to them. So I certainly think that conference attendance is important for professional development and networking. Could we go without it? Sure. But that's, that falls into the medium impact at $1,600. Then we get to the real core of it, the things that will actually impact the budget. So a 20% reduction in the congregate meals budget would be $8,400, and that would result in a significant reduction of the catered meals program down from roughly 4 days a week. We have more Fridays that we serve lunch than we don't. Monday is always the mock meal. So reducing that from 4 days a week to 2 days a week. So we would have, let's say, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, we'd be, and we only get 3 meals on Monday. That's all mock gives us anymore. So
Three?
3 meals.
There are only 3 people who qualify for mock meals, or 3 people who want it?
They'll only give us 3 meals. So the first 3 people that sign up for meals on Mondays are who get meals.
Really?
Yes.
And how did they for free?
They had budget cuts just like everybody else, and they said, you were getting 8 meals. Now you're going to get 3. That happened a couple of months ago. And they also purged the Meals on Wheels delivery list when they lost some of their funding too. So we have fewer Meals on Wheels clients than we've ever had before.
And do you attribute that to just people kind of grew tired of getting Meals on Wheels, or?
No, they were disqualified from the program because there was less funding. So Meals on Wheels kind of, I call it, purged their list.
Yeah.
But they went through and
Okay.
took a bunch of people out.
Yeah.
So that would basically take us down to, functionally, instead of having Tuesday through Friday, we would have Tuesday, Thursday lunches. That I think is not great. That's not good at all. 60% of our participants every month come for lunch. They do other things while they're here too, but they come for lunch. So that would disrupt the rhythm and the cadence of lunch at the senior center. And it would increase food insecurity for some of our most vulnerable older adults who really rely on a good quality meal at a low price. The next reduction would be a 20% reduction in the program's budget, which would be about $2,000. That would be between 8 and 16 fewer programs per year. Obviously, different programs have different costs to them, but if I look at my average of 125 to 250 for performers, things like that, and then supplies, right? Like when we're doing next week the Mason cookie jar craft. So I go out and buy a ton of flour and sugar and baking soda and chocolate chips and stuff. So I consider that like a program. So there's mason jars to purchase. There's all the food to purchase. There's ribbons, labels, all those things. So the cost of that ends up being a couple $100. So that would be an example. So I would have to go through our typical programs and cut out 8 to 16 per year. And then the final place to reduce would be a 20% reduction in the general supplies budget, which would be $1,600. And then that would be reduced purchasing of paper goods for the congregate lunches, which would be fine because we would be making a 20% reduction to the meals program. Reduced replacement of worn out items and reduced special event supplies. So all 3 of those would be, so I think the first 3 things, no one here using the building would really notice aside from the bubbler. But I think everybody would feel these last 3. The staff are the only ones who are affected by the ones in the middle. So, I don't like any of these. I'm not endorsing any of these. I wanted to open it up for advisory input.
No. Did you come up with 17,000 with all those?
I think it's like 16.9. You can re-add it if you want, but it's roughly.
Do you on the congregate meal, On the congregate meal, is there any reason to think that after the meals have gone, you've had the week or the day or whatever, that food is uneaten or wasted or thrown away from the meals that are being served here?
You mean for the Meals on Wheels, or you mean the
No, the
catered ones?
The catered
The
ones.
catered ones. So Denise is like a hawk on those. She really tries to monitor the head count and be in coordination with the caterer, so that
Okay.
we don't have a lot of food waste. There is some food waste. There's always food waste involved with food.
But there's no reason to think that there's a substantial or a significant amount of food that's
Oh,
being wasted.
no,
Okay.
there's not. There's
Right.
not.
Right.
And when there is, like, let's say there's a substantial amount of food left over. I think Thanksgiving, we barely touched that second pan of mashed potatoes that went in the freezer. And then in January, we always do a leftover meal. And so there weren't that many people who came to the senior center month open house in September. So there's a whole tray of like Swedish meatballs there. So we'll do, when it's appropriate to freeze, we will freeze and then plan a leftover day.
Yeah.
Occasionally there's a sandwich or two left over. But like I said, Denise's, she's like made it her mission to really,
So
sometimes too much, so.
how does this, all right, well, yeah, so let's talk about this a little
Yeah.
bit. Just later, we can discuss how the process unfolds from here now that you have submitted this.
Yeah, I haven't
But
submitted it yet.
Oh.
It's
all
not
right.
due till the end of December. That's why I thought this was
Wow.
a good,
Okay,
a good meeting to bring it up so that we could discuss it.
all right.
Well, I think you did a great job. And
Yeah, I
it's hard
agree.
to reduce and to minimize the impact to the consumers overall, given the fact that you had, you're handcuffed in terms of what specifically you can do for staffing, staff
Yeah.
salaries.
So the fact that you're,
Right there.
so your take on this is that because you have been required to submit a 10% reduction, it is in your best judgment that the only way you're gonna get there is
Like
this
this.
way.
Well, this is my best approximation of this.
Okay,
So that's why I chose to include in the director's report an update on exactly what is in each of these
yeah,
budgets, and where we are in them for the year. So most of them, I'm sorry, and this is of December 3rd, we're 42% through the fiscal year. And most of these are, aside from services, they're kind of right there. Programs always looks, it's at 67% through spent, but the big spend out of that program budget is the turkey train in the fall. So it always looks like we have overspent.
mhm,
But the purchases, each of the programs that go on after that are smaller
yeah,
by
yeah.
comparison. So that's why I thought we could talk about it and see if there were other ideas that you guys had, because you are my advisory board.
So how bad would it be if they said, hey, Katie, you did a great job, but you gotta make those 20%, 25%?
Well, the budget directive was to reduce the entire budget by 10%, and this accomplishes that.
Yeah, I know, I'm just,
And he's not gonna, that is, for budget purposes, they don't make value judgments as to increase that reduction to 25% and decrease the other reduction to, he's not gonna go down into the weeds about how you feel your department could best meet that directive of 10% reduction.
But no, I think that could be part of the conversation, right? Like, because I had submitted, like, if you think about last year, I had submitted for the additional $2,400 for adding one. We talked about it. I put it in my budget, and through the budget process, it was taken out.
Right.
And then at the select board meeting, you advocated to have it put back in again, and it got put back in again.
Right.
Or was that no, that was maybe a budget forum, whatever it was at town hall, right? So, so I think they are looking to see the specifics. I don't know, I'm speculating, so take that as speculation, that they're going to look through all of these specific suggestions and see, are there, even if we don't make everybody do a 10% reduction across the board, what did people come up with? And okay, yes, Katie, definitely get rid of the butler, definitely get rid of this. So we're going to cut your budget by some amount. It may not be 10%, but here's some thanks for identifying the low hanging fruit. Cut that,
Yeah.
again, speculating, but
Because, and the reason, in terms of how the process unfolds from here, it is my general observation just about the municipal budget or government or anybody's budget. I do not adhere to the notion, let me just put it up. I do not adhere to the notion that it is in some way fair, just, appropriate, necessary that everybody cut their budget by 10%, or everybody gets a 3% increase this year, or you only need to cut, everybody will. I don't subscribe to
Across
that
the
notion.
board, yeah.
Some departments, some entities are in a better position to be able to absorb cuts. Others are not. Some entities, gain substantial amounts, others don't. That is, 3% of a big number is a lot more than 3% of a little number.
Right.
sure,
It
absolutely.
just,
Yeah.
and if you're looking to cut total dollars, one of the ways to do it is you take a smaller percentage of a big number than a large percentage of a small.
And
And how that will unfold as the budget process
But
moves
that's-
through town is kind of, we'll see.
And I think that's the job of the town manager, of the finance director, accountant, as they play supporting roles, the FinCom, the select board, to look through, because each department will have its own situation. Some of them have bigger budgets, but they have more regulatory things that they, right.
Yeah, no, is this, and this is out there, making up for the medical?
So the perfect storm, as it's being called, the municipal perfect storm, which is what the state municipal, like at the state level, is using the phrase perfect storm, is being driven almost, many municipalities, many of our surrounding neighbors have had overrides the last 2 years in a row. Ayer has not had to do that. But we've ridden it out the last 2 years that these same situations are in place. This year, as a third year, healthcare costs, retiree healthcare cost is going up 20%. What did I name before? I don't have the directive in front of me. The hospital, we are now not going to get the same level of taxes, and it's a substantial number that we're not getting from taxes. And then what was the third thing? Here, let me pull that back up again. It was,
Pension?
the retiree healthcare, but then,
Yeah.
stop the share for just a second.
yourself that you put in, or you.
But they can match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that. Did I close it?
It would be.
Oh, here it is. Okay, so, all right.
But are we paying 100%?
No,
Oh,
the 20% increase, the school grants. And the hospital taxes. So those are the three
Yeah.
things that are the main.
And there's no way to know exactly what the number will be from the schools for several months from now.
Right, that is the last thing that kind of slots in. Let me see if he said when.
But
So,
you went
so in
first.
here, point number 4, failure to adhere to these instructions and meet the deadline of December 29th will result in your budget, your FY26 budget being used for FY27, including a 10% reduction. So if I don't go through this exercise, I get the worst case scenario. So, ba, ba, ba. This doesn't include,
You have a workshop budget, an education fund, right? Do you?
so that goes
Every-
into,
Everybody in town has one, right? Department.
so in the other, this 5,700, if you look on, yeah, on that back page, 5,700
Mhm.
is what I largely call my program expenses, but there is some money in there for professional expenses. It's in my department budget.
Okay,
So that's the $1,600. There's no other piece in there.
Mm.
What I carry right now is $1,600. Each of my employees per the union contract can take up to they can get credit for, they can get a small stipend up to $400 total for doing continuing education. It's on them to submit for that.
mhm.
They haven't really done that much in the last few years. If
Wow.
they either haven't done it or they haven't submitted, they're aware of it. That's on them to do it.
Yeah,
If they do that, I have to find the money someplace else, because I don't hold it right now. So
I
in,
did VC.
huh?
That's how I got my at VC.
Oh, actually, no, let me take that back. It's in there.
Mhm.
Let me take that
Yeah,
back.
come
We
back.
recalculated it. We put it in the wage line. So it is in there. Their $400 is in the wage line.
I did
Okay.
2 courses and
So, yeah, so their $400 a year is held in the wage line. And then the $1,600 is the only other professional conference sort of thing. We pay professional dues to mock and to MCOA, and those are in the 5,700 line
So
as
those
well.
can't be changed or anything else like.
Right, so that's the thing, like, I can't, and the town, and maybe that's something that could be negotiated because I pay about $400 annually to mock. It's not a huge sum of money, but I paid $400 when they gave me like 30 meals, and now they're giving me 3 meals. So
Oh, yeah.
that's something maybe right. So again, $400 is not that much money. That's our contribution to the
Yeah,
to the thing,
Is
but
that to overall or was that for the congregate meals?
it's for the congregate meal program. So they
Okay.
used to serve pre-COVID and pre-me, they used to bring in these big like sheet pans and half sheet pans of sweet potatoes and whatever, and then they plated them and served them. Now, during COVID, they went to TV dinners that were sealed because it was deemed to be more sanitary. And Mock says they'll never go back to the other system. They're going to do those forever. So, it is, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna squabble with them because again, their budget also has been drastically cut, which is why we're in this situation to begin with. So, but yeah, so there are certain things that are movable and certain things that are not.
so I don't,
I can't think, go back to the.
I mean, just a couple of things for the board. This, as it was last year and all years, it is now our it is now up to us as an advisory members of the community to advocate for the needs of the senior center and then therefore the needs of the seniors, against or, mitigate the harm that's caused by the cuts. My first look at this, I don't see I would not be supportive of any effort to reduce the congregate meals budget.
no.
Full stop, period.
That one I will go and
The fact
advocate
that
for you.
to cut it in half, I don't, yeah, no.
Because I see the people that come and know they need it.
The, so that's my first.
Yeah.
On the margins, if you know that there are some programs that are poorly attended or I could see doing that, but I would support your efforts to, well-attended programs that you have good reason to believe people are benefiting from,
Mhm.
you know, fight against an effort, if the 2000 became 500 or whatever,
Mhm.
I could fully understand why that would be.
Mhm.
The bubbler, I think the water in there is fine.
Yeah.
Drink it every day, have been for the last 20 years. And none of the symptoms or none of my poor health diagnoses, of which I have a couple, are related to the water and air.
How do you know it's not the PFAS?
And my oncologist says, don't drink it.
Yeah. Um,
So, I mean, I think the water quality in air makes it safe, like for people with specific conditions, fully different thing. But I do agree with you. The bubbler is a nice to have versus, I would rather get rid of that than a program, for example.
and I think that
I
for
usually carry bottle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would not be too quick to do this because again, I think that the town, the municipality has an obligation to properly fund necessary programs.
Mhm.
If you were to see some of these as being, a little bit of a luxury or just kind of I talking to the friends about whether or not they could pick up some of the slack if you were to lose XYZ. Or I would wait for that conversation until after the budget. Let me put it that way.
Right. Yeah. I don't think they're in a
unfortunately, I
position
think
to do
the-
that.
The Friends is so new. It's such a new organization, so it doesn't have a strong footing yet. It's also going out there to do fundraising
Yeah.
for the new building and
Yeah, yeah.
looking for
Okay.
different
No,
types of
yeah,
things.
All right.
If it was an established organization that was 10 or 15 years old, you would have some of that capital built up and could put it out.
Okay.
Right now, it's just all seed money
Yeah.
and
All right.
They need young blood.
All right. I revoke my previous statement.
it's a valid comment on it, Dennis, but just sort of in answering the why it probably wouldn't be able
Yeah.
to.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
But I would
Other
hate to see
comments?
the middle one be taken away. I agree,
Middle one
the
would,
middle one, the meals,
the meals,
because I
okay.
think you have a big group here that comes down
Mhm.
for their big meal.
Right.
And all I hear a lot of the time I'm here, I'm not eating tonight. This is my meal.
Yeah.
And I would gladly, and I'm outspoken, all of you, I would gladly stand up and say that.
Well, thank you. I mean,
I think that probably is one of would be one of my larger concerns as well too, that yes, that is that
Mhm.
one meal that they may get.
yeah.
I suppose in some respects, maybe trying to quantify how much that would have an impact. I don't know if that would
Yeah.
make any difference.
Yeah.
The other,
Many don't cook at night, they don't cook breakfast, they don't. I mean,
Yeah.
they barely do groceries.
I think that there are, it's just,
So I
It's
think that
unconscious.
when we all.
it would be unconscionable to me
Right.
for the town to knowingly reduce
Right,
the congregate meals.
Well, because you can't do anything, so we can't cook in the kitchen. If we were cooking in the
Right.
kitchen, you could
Mhm.
stretch it a little bit more, but
Right.
you don't have that.
Yes, but, and in
No
light
luxury.
of, in light of, especially, as Katie pointed out, the mock meals cuts and cuts to other services, including potentially SNAP and all the rest of it. If a society, and in this case, I say the society, the town of Ayer, if you cannot feed your citizens
Mhm.
or cannot ensure that your citizens can eat adequately, you're living in a third world country, full stop. Right? So, but, all right, I'll get off my soapbox. The other thing is that part part of the conversation, and we'll see where it goes in the 10% reduction. I mean, maybe it doesn't happen, and all the rest of it.
Right, yeah, it may not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But part of the conversation, and I don't think you will hear this, I hope, from the select board or FinCom or capital planning or whatever. But it may be that we hear things just, and now they want to spend all that money on the senior center, or look at the hole that the senior center created in the budget, et cetera.
This
Well,
has
that's-
nothing to do with that.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying
We're
is
not paying
that
for the
the
senior center.
board, it will be
No.
incumbent upon the members of the board
The whole
to-
firm.
yeah, well, but to adequately communicate that this perfect storm, as described by the town manager about the budget deficit or,
Yeah.
potential cuts, the new senior center building has nothing to do with that. Those costs have not arrived on, it has nothing to do with it. And so it's going to be important for the people to understand that, should that conversation arise, that we don't have a hole in the budget because now they're building a new building, or we don't have a hole in the budget because they were planning on
But I
feeding more.
think even if you read the directive, it was pretty clear as to what was causing the increase.
Mhm.
And it was asked to set, and it's across all town budgets,
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
not just,
right.
not just the senior centers or not just any of the
Yep.
social services, it's across all
Yeah.
of them. So however they all
Yes,
derive it, yes, that philosophy may change once we see where those cuts are coming from.
uh-huh. But the public may not know that, is I guess my point.
Well, I'm presuming that, as you go, as it goes through all of this whole type of thing. You mean, it could be said too, is that it is, and I'm not picking on it or whatnot, but it's just the new fire truck that's coming.
Mhm.
That, so I mean, there are a lot of different,
Public
and my
safety.
point in saying that is every department has that, what you want to consider, it's like a white elephant or whatever it's going to be that's large.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
y- we shouldn't point fingers at others. Unless push comes to shove.
So for the sake, agreed, for the sake of this discussion today.
Yep.
Is there anything that you would advise me to, I hear the suggestion to further flesh out the impact of the reduction in the congregate meals beyond just increased food insecurity, right? And like to fully explain that. And I think what I may do is make this in color and maybe make, green shading to the first three things, yellow shading to
Oh, that's a good
conference
idea.
budget,
Mhm.
general
Red.
supplies and programs, and then an actual red
Yeah.
on the program, the congregate meal
Color
budget.
always.
Yeah,
gets
color always
those
helps.
atten-
And for the, Sue just kind of highlighted something that is coming out of the town meeting vote and then the ballot vote. It is clear to me, and I've said this before, that the town is looking to not only kind of try to maintain service delivery and programmatic offerings for the senior center, but the town is knowingly seeking more. They think that it is going to be important to have more varied programs and, a nicer building, obviously, and be able to serve more meals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And presumably the select board and the FinCom and capital planning committee and the town manager's office have direct knowledge of that, because these votes have occurred a month ago. So if we are to act in the public interest on this particular matter, the public interest is clear. That is, we want more, not less, yada, yada. Now, and again, I understand that every department will say that, and they all have public support, and to a greater or lesser extent, that may all be true. But it is clear to me that it should be clear to them that there is substantial public desire,
Mhm.
because it would be a little disingenuous to simultaneously say, well, we know they want all of this, when we get the building up, but for now, we're gonna cut. X, Y, Z.
But I think you'd be drawing more attention to yourself if you said, well, this is, unless it's good, unless the budget specifically goes to a town vote. And they can, or it's line item, and we want that, we don't
It
want this,
does.
and it, but not line item by line
You
item.
can
Right.
put a
Okay.
hold, you can put a hold on
Okay.
any one particular department budget as they
Okay.
read through.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of years ago, somebody put a hold on my budget and I was like, oh, and then it turned out that person was just wanting to take an official opportunity to be like, the senior center does good work. So it wasn't a really
Okay.
the right
And
use of
that-
the hold, but you may see if, and again, these three scenarios are for modeling purposes right
Yeah.
now, so that doesn't mean that
Mhm.
that's what will happen, but you may see more what they call holding, like, because you approve the omnibus budget as one vote, but
Right.
before you do that, you have the townspeople have the opportunity to be like, I want to circle before we vote on the whole thing. I want to circle back and look at that particular
Mhm.
department's budget.
Usually Robert tries not to do that.
Correct,
Yeah.
because that's the work that is being done between now and town meeting at the end of
Yeah.
April is really combing through the budget.
Right, but
Yeah.
the average town person doesn't see
Right.
that.
That's right.
It will-
Right, yeah,
So it
But
may
they're
be,
not-
but that's
they
not
don't
for
pay
lack
attention.
of,
Into.
Yeah.
Right.
Most, like, my, did it on the by,
Yeah.
line by line.
I mean, they are there in the budget book, like this chart,
Right, they are-
this chart is
they are-
in the budget
Right,
book for
Right.
everybody to look at.
right, but like I said, other towns do it.
Right.
Mhm.
All 700 people in.
no, this isn't really helpful. This is
Yeah, I
good.
mean,
Everybody's
everybody's,
full.
And promptly
Yeah,
done, I
everybody
must
does.
say. Between
Well-
December 1st and now, you.
What was really nice is that day that we had a snow day,
Mhm.
it allowed me to work from home. I delivered Meals on Wheels that in the morning, and then it allowed me to work in the afternoon, in a quiet environment and without the just standard interruptions of day-to-day things going on here. And I was able to really dedicate some time to it and, kind of think through it in one foul swoop, which was really helpful. And then that set it up nicely to be able to talk to you guys. So I don't hear, aside from fleshing out the impact of the congregate budget, is there any other feedback?
No,
no, I don't, I mean, I can't even think of anything else that you would do other than, some of the meals would be maybe two in your own mind. And think about if they say, all right, well, you know what, you still have to have your 10%, but you don't have to cut the congregate meals, find it half of it. Or
Yep.
where else could okay, if I keep that up, where else could I
Right.
sort of make some,
Mhm.
And Katie, I guess you said something about the Friends of the Air scholarship program for your programs.
Yeah.
So that might help a little bit or two.
I mean, it would help if they do that. I mean, the
Right.
idea was the donation was given so that we could do more,
Yeah.
not to cover
Not to
what the
cover,
town would
but-
like to carve out.
That's right.
But, and that's why when I put this together, when I was looking at this level service one, I debated whether or not to even mention it.
You don't.
And I don't have to,
Right.
No,
but I just
yeah.
believe in doing it transparently to say I really was not going to put forth a level service budget. I have pretty much every other year done a level funded
Mhm.
budget.
Yeah.
I have not submitted a level service budget every year.
It's
Um,
hard. Mhm.
so other departments have done level service, right? So that's like the most advantageous budget. Because if my costs have not appreciably gone up, or I have had some wiggle room due to those other things that were in there, it's been fine. The other thing I would just like to mention related to that is, where I could use some advocacy, is if we get into this 10% reduction, I suspect that special funds are going to get looked at too.
what is,
So if you look in the director's
Mhm.
report, and let me see if I can pull that up real quickly. Director's report. Oh,
I see it. Special fund.
Here. So I don't every month I get a omnibus budget update every month, but I don't get a special fund, but I got one for this. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Okay. So the grants, this doesn't impact the grants at all, but when you look at the donation and the revolving accounts, I have some balances in there. So the formula grant looks like a large amount of money, but 15,000 is about to come out of that.
I'm sorry, which one?
The formula grant, that's the state one.
Oh, I
It's
see, yeah.
$32,000 a year, paid in two $16,000 installments, essentially. It's $16 per senior based on the 2020 census. And roughly $15,000 of that goes to pay Mary Ellen's or the outreach coordinator's salary. But it doesn't always pay the first $15,000 of her salary. It pays when the town accountant has the chance to do the ledger transfer. So 15,000 is coming out of that right away. Then in terms of the general donations and the outreach specific donations, those are things, the outreach specific donations are intended to be used for social service emergencies. And we haven't had many of those in part because our outreach coordinator is excellent at problem solving, and is often able to problem solve without needing to add in money, and also because the town makes it a little difficult for us to spend that money.
So what would be, like, for instance, if somebody came and said, I need my blood pressure medication and I don't have enough money, can you?
So for
that would be
something,
an inappropriate use of the
yeah, I wouldn't say no to that, but I would say that that would only be yes after all of the
Yeah.
other things had been solved. So there's a lot of different avenues with the drug manufacturers, with the grocery stores, with the health plans that you would pursue before that. Think about that like
No,
for
but on an emergency basis.
right. So think about that more like it's Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon, and someone's toilet, their only toilet in their residence, um, overflows and they don't have any funds with which to fix that. So that would be that's a good classic example of something like that, where that's not a nice to have. It's a you must have working sanitation in your home. And if you really do not have, by the time you got a new toilet and a plumber out there, you're looking at probably $500-600, right? At least.
1,000.
Okay, 1,000. All right.